So you want to set up OBS for streaming. Let's talk about it. Hey there friends, and welcome into today's video where I am Artemis Eternal. You know where to find me. Up here, doing live streams, doing all that stuff. You know, gotta do that shameless self-promo and stuff at the start of the video. Remember to hit subscribe and all that stuff if you want more OBS tips, which I will be going over for the next few weeks, just to give you guys a little bit of a head start. So today, what we're going to be talking about is firstly connecting your stream account so that you can actually stream on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you are. And then we're going to talk about your bitrate to do with your internet and stuff. Then we're going to talk about profiles, scenes, nested scenes. You get the point. I'm not going to list everyone off, but I will put timestamps in the comments or description below to which part is which. Okay, so let's start off with connecting your streaming software, or well, OBS, to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, whatever you're using. So now if my editor would kindly switch into OBS, here we are. See, as you can see, I have a blank OBS right here. Like, obviously it's not fully blank, it's got all my stuff set up for it. But I'm in my YouTube scene, which I use for recording gameplay or things like this. So I should, in theory, not have anything to start streaming with. So if we do go into my settings, and I show you guys this, now I can choose between all of these. So obviously, if you're we'll go for Twitch and YouTube usually because it just makes it easier. So what I'll do, I'll show you guys how to set up your Twitch account first. And basically the best way to do this, to get it to stream every time and every time you go live, connecting the account is the better way to do it. So now you would get this scene set up, and then it would, you know, you'd put in your username, you'd put in your password, whatever. And then once you've done that, you'll get a few more extra things. Now, if I switch over my profile, which I will show you guys later on how to do, over to Twitch for my live streaming, because this Twitch is my live streaming one, you can see that I have things like chat and my Twitch stats and my stream information that I can just change on the fly from OBS. Now, basically, what signing in does and connecting your account does is basically it allows OBS to connect to your Twitch dashboard almost and make browser docs. So like I can also get like my activity feed, which I haven't docked because obviously I'm not on Twitch anymore. But yeah, like I've got all that stuff. I can do like a few extra things, I think. No, I think obviously you can get things like that for like stats and stuff if you're into that stat kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know. But now that we've got that set up, right? So what we're going to do next is actually we're going to go into our settings, and I'm going to show you guys. Right. So for your server, either put auto or put whatever one you're nearest. So like New York, blah blah blah. You get the point, right? You see all those, yeah? Okay. So now you can add like Twitch add-ons like Better TTV and whatever the hell Frankerface Z is. All I know is Better TTV is just another way to give emotes for free, basically, in your channel. But as you can see here, actually, seeing as we are literally a way to talk about bitrate, maximum video bitrate for Twitch for non-partners is 6000 kbs, and the minimum audio bitrate is, or maximum is 320 kbs. Now your audio bitrate and your video bitrate are two different things. Usually 320 is your best. So now if we go into our output here, now this is where you guys get to see how bad my internet is. But no, it's not really, it's just the fact that Twitch suppresses a lot of it. So if you have internet like mine that doesn't go very fast or doesn't do great, just put your rate control to CBR or whatever one you feel like's better. Like lossless is obviously going to give you higher quality and stuff like that. Whereas all the other ones slightly have slight compression and stuff, and you can like set your minimum and max bit rate, or the bit rate that you're wanting to get, and then you can go max quality, high quality, blah blah blah. You get the point. Now, this in terms, if you're going for 720p, which I would recommend, 1080p is not really going to work unless you're a partner and at 8000 kbs consistently for streaming. So what I would say is 2500 is a good baseline for 720p. So yeah, just copy maybe these settings maybe, and then mess around from there. Obviously, I've got it on max quality because I know my PC can handle it. But if you have a lower end PC, you can put it to, you know, performance, max performance, low latency, low latency quality, low latency performance. You see what it does? I know you guys are seeing, and my mouse is floating a lot above the audio tracks. Which actually, I think we should talk a little bit about before we actually do anything. So, editor, switch back to the camera, please. Thank you. But yeah, so what audio tracks do? Now, as you've seen, it did say Twitch VOD track and audio track. The audio track is the one that Stream hears while you're streaming and while you're playing games and stuff like this. So like you can have music on and then turn it off in the VOD or whatever, right? But now I know that sounds good, and I know that sounds like you can play copyrighted music. You cannot. Twitch can still ban you live. And so can YouTube, and so can Facebook, and so can everywhere else. If you're not paying for the copyrighted music, you cannot stream it. Trust me, a lot of people get past with it, but it's not worth the risk because you can end up with a permanent ban on your account. And, you know, your whole streaming career will be done before it's even started, right? So, what I tend to use the Twitch VOD tracks for is, again, I do take away my music from the VOD track just so it's easier if I want to edit in my own music or something like that when I'm doing extra bits and pieces. Like if I'm taking a bit from stream and then come back, edit it, and do all that stuff. Yeah, okay. I need the Twitch track to not pick up audio so that I can put in my own audio and stuff. So that's what the audio tracks are really useful for. They're not a savior of copyright strikes or anything. Like, you'll still get them. So, also, actually, completely blanked me, but if we switch back to OBS real quick, with my camera up here. Hello, I'm here. But as you probably seen, I do have mine in advance. So yours might not look like this yet. Your OBS might not look like this, and you've probably not seen it, which was a mistake on my part. I forgot to, actually explain that. So this is what the simple output looks like, and I wouldn't suggest this. Also, I would suggest you put your audio bitrate to 320, which apparently I never did. Oops, my bad. But if I go into advanced, it's a lot more controllable. I can go into different things and change different settings. Like, obviously this stuff is more for if you're doing YouTube videos like I am right now. So as you can see, my bitrate is 50,000 kbs because the more kilobits a second you've got, the higher quality you have, So basically what you can do here, especially when I go into the audio part of it, is it the audio part? It might not be the audio part. Oh, no, it's here. Right. Sorry, I sometimes lose where my settings are, okay? So now that you see I have the same audio track on my recording settings, which again, I'll explain how to split your audio in a second, but the most important thing you want to be looking for, especially if you want your mic separate from your game and your game separate from your music and your music separate from Discord and Discord separate, you get the point. But basically, if you have them on track 2, 3, So what I usually do, actually, instead of explaining it very weirdly, so instead of having my audio track one, which is my Twitch track, which is my stream track, and having all that going on at once, I only use audio channels 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when you put it into your editing software, 2 becomes 1, 1 becomes 2 becomes 1, 3 becomes 2, 4 becomes 3, 5 becomes 4, and 6 becomes, well, 5. So basically, this becomes audio track 1, which would be my mic, and then this would be my game, then Discord, then something else, right? I don't know what that something else would be, but just for argument's sake, let's say music, right? And then 6 is just, we're just going to ignore 6. We don't need, 5 separate audio tracks just now. So basically, what those do is you can sit there and play around with it yourself. But when you're actually going to go and edit, you don't have to have Audacity recording and OBS recording. You get what I mean? Like, you can have split audio tracks without doing things like Audacity, which I will admit, I only learned that like 2 months ago. I will be honest. So, again, take your time, mess around with OBS, even if I don't teach you something that you know, or teach you something that you don't know. Still mess around with other things in OBS that I've not taught you. Just start messing around with settings. Obviously, do not do it before you start streaming. Do it like a day or two before you start a stream or something, or like a few hours so that you can fix anything if anything goes wrong. So yeah, basically that's the basics of, I guess, the output side of OBS, I guess, for streaming and a little bit of recording. So the next thing I do want to talk about, considering we're on recording, is actually audio splitting for your videos and for Twitch. So if you see here, you can see my mic's going off here, right? But if you actually look here for a second, if I go into this, you can see all my different audio tracks. And now this is where you go into your advanced audio properties. This is where you can do things like monitoring and stuff. And I will show you guys in a second how to set up your monitoring for OBS and set up the right devices and stuff. But as you can see, if I take off that, because I don't use Twitch soundtrack anymore, but if you see, like, my mic is sitting on 2, game sitting on 3, and whatever this is, Discord is sitting on 4. So basically, when you're selecting each of these, so this is what's going out to Twitch, and then this is what's going out to track 1 for recording or for the editing software. So like this also goes on 1, and it also goes on 2, and then that goes on 1 and 3, and then you get the point. I'm going to show you guys how to actually separate your audio now. If we actually go over to our sources, we have, especially if you're in OBS 28, you will have the application audio output capture beta. So now what you can do with this is, obviously, let's call it, I don't know, let's call it gaming, right? Okay, so basically this can capture one specific title or one specific window, which I prefer the plugin version better. If you just search up audio output capture plugin, you will find it immediately, but I will try and find the link and link it down below for you guys. So the one I prefer to do is application audio output capture. So let's call this one gaming, right? So now anything I have, I can add to this audio output capture. So this will capture whatever audio I want. So if I went like that, added Discord, added Steam, added music, and if I go and actually play music, which is Stream Beats by Harris Heller, it should now show up here. And you guys should maybe hear it. I can't remember if that's how it works. It does work. You've just got to, again, like I said, trial and error. That's all streaming is. For anyone who is brand new, take that warning. It will be trial and error. But yeah, let's delete that so I don't mess up my entire OBS, because obviously I've got different audio channels for different things, and they're all labeled properly for once. Which, if you know a lot about me, I'm not very organized. But we're going to move past the audio. Actually, no, sorry, one more thing. Like I promised, I would say that you guys would get to see how to set up a monitoring device. So, obviously, mine's are wired, but I have these Sennheiser, audio monitors. And basically, if I want to set up audio monitoring for these, I have to go and select, I think it's like Realtek Audio or something. I think. So if I apply that, I will tell you guys in a second. This is how you go into monitoring as well, just so you guys know. But if I do this, I can now hear myself, which I don't like at all. Now, the next thing I actually want to show you guys, just before we go off of audio and output and all that stuff, is the fact that you can monitor only to yourself. So if you have copyrighted music that you want to listen to, you can monitor that only. But sometimes it can slip through, so the safer way to do it is make a music source for copyrighted music and then mute it, just in case. Now, you can obviously do desktop audio, but you won't be able to have as much control over things like your game, your Discord, your browser, your music, and all that other great stuff. So what I would suggest is doing the output capture and stuff like that, which, again, like I've said, it's a great way to actually keep yourself safe, especially if you're playing copyrighted music, because you like to listen to copyrighted music while you're streaming. It's just a better way to do it, because I listen to copyrighted music all the time on stream, but mine's never comes through because I have my browser source muted at all times, because sometimes I use YouTube, sometimes I use Spotify, but Spotify isn't even being captured by OBS because I don't have it set to capture OBS, Spotify on OBS. So, seeing as we're done with the audio portion, and you guys know how to set up your audio, and now what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to set up things like scenes. So obviously we're in my game recording screen just now, but if we go over to just chatting, this is my overlay and stuff, right? So again, I think next week I will teach you guys how to do overlays and stuff like that. I'm not going to go through it in depth this week just because it is a bit more advanced sometimes. So let's say this is our scene, right? Okay, messy scene, right? Let's make a new scene. Call it just chatting 2. Yeah, let's call it just chatting 2, right? So now if we actually move some things and get rid of things like Twitch stats and stuff like that, you can see that I have 2 things here, which is my scenes and my sources. So here's what I want to teach you guys first, what each source kinda does, or a basic explanation of it. I think a lot of them are self-explanatory, but just the ones that you don't know what they do, I don't mess about with a lot of these because I do a lot of color stuff either post-production or as a filter, which I will show you guys later on. But if I do something, so obviously your audio output capture is your audio output capture. Your input capture is things like microphones and stuff that comes through from an external source. And then your audio output is your desktop capture, I think. Yeah. So if I've got something playing in the background on my speakers, then that it would capture it, right? So while we're in Oops, I just got rid of it, didn't I? Okay, we're back in Just Chatting 2. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so, right. Here's what each thing does, right? I'll give you a basic rundown of each thing. So, audio input capture, we know it's a mic, right? Or an external input to the PC in some way, shape, or form. Audio output is obviously audio output. Now, your browser sources are for things like overlays, chat, stuff like that. So, I'll give you guys a quick tutorial on that, I guess. So, I'm just going to explain it. I'm not going to show anything. But basically, if you go to Stream Elements or any other place that lets you do chat overlays or something, basically, you need to copy the browser source link. And then when you put it in there, you can set the sizes and stuff. Like if I go back into OBS right now, if I just use one that's already existing, like my, let's say my social thing, right? So obviously you can see that my social thing isn't working properly. So if I refresh it, it should work better now. I'm hoping. But basically what I wanted to show you guys is obviously, as you can see there, I will show you guys in a video later on how to do that. But as you can see here, I have the width is 1920, the height is 600. Now, the safe bet is to actually make it 1920 by 1080 and then crop it. But again, not everyone does that. And also you can control your audio through OBS. So like if I put it in here and said, okay, I now get the social Artemis thing. So if I had alerts to do with that one as well, then I can control the audio as it goes, right? So again, if I go back in, take it off, press OK, it disappears, as we can see. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about just before anything else, because again, the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory. The only other one I need to tell you guys is probably, before we go into the next thing, is probably color source. Now, color source basically does what it says. It picks a color, and like you can do this as a green screen. You can almost like make it a green screen and then put a transparent video source on here, and or even put yourself on here. And as long as you have something like it basically selects a color and it selects a color to delete, or that's what you can do with it. So again, like I've said, I've not really messed about too much with color sources because I've not done anything like that recently or at all really. So the next thing I want to talk about is nested scenes. Now, nested scenes will make your scene tab messier, maybe, but you can always group your scenes together. But if I add, say, a scene, but say I want to add an already existing scene like my starting soon screen, right? I'm just going to use it for an example. And basically that adds everything that is in my starting soon screen to actually be there. So like, obviously if I jump over to my starting soon actual tab, you can see that I have music and the start. So again, if we go back to Just Chatting 2 and make that maybe, so if I add the scene, say Just Chatting, to my actual, Just Chatting 2 screen, then what should happen when I do this is every audio source that I have for Just Chatting 1, or the original Just Chatting screen, is my browser, my Discord, guest 1, which is for Video Ninja. Again, I'll do a separate tutorial on that. And basically, yeah, so like there's some of the basic stuff. So again, your sources and stuff like that. Now, probably the one of the last things that I want to talk to you guys about today is profiles and scene transitions. Now, what profiles do, basically you can make as many profiles as you want and it makes everything a lot easier. So obviously, as you can see, I have a Twitch profile, which is all my Twitch stuff for when I was streaming over there. I have a YouTube profile, which is mainly made for videos and stuff like that. So, like, obviously, if I was capturing this, you'd see me duplicate it and stuff. So, this is just a game scene because I record everything off the camera and use basically OBS as the mic source to get a separate mic source. But the other one, that was for when I was doing a different way to record, which again, I will show you guys how to do that if you do not have a separate camera to do. But that will be part of another part of Stream Tip Saturday. And when I see it, I'll link it down below when I do it and stuff. And then we've got our YouTube Live, which obviously, again, YouTube Lives are a lot harder. I'm going to do a separate breakdown video of that so that I can teach you guys exactly how to set up a YouTube stream, because it is confusing for the first few times doing it. So, the very, very, very last thing we need to talk about is scene transitions. Now, I'm not going to really mess about with it too much, but I'm not actually going to, I think I can actually do it. It's not too bad. But again, you have cuts which do cuts. So like it would just cut into it. Instead of, so like to show this a bit better, I'm going to show the OBS so you'll get a bit of tripling almost. So what we do here is we go into the just chatting, and then if we transition down into in-game, it will just cut in. So that's what cut does, cuts. And fades slowly. Like, obviously you don't have to put it to a whole second, but it just fades it in and fades you out, and everything fades in and out nicely. Swipes, obviously swipe to the left. I think it's to the left. Yeah. So like, it swipes, 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 and all that stuff, right? So as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory, a lot of them. The slides both at the same time, and it just switches midway through. I think there's a fade to, I can't remember what fade to color one does, but I think it just changes. Okay, it does that. And then these two, the move filters, are very weird to try and mess around with. So like, obviously I'm not going to touch any of this because I know mine is fine. But again, you want to just ease out your appearing items and ease out other things. I think you only want to, and then you can change your transition to whatever the hell you want. So if you actually see, and if I can actually find a way to actually do this, I'm not sure if I can, but if I jump over to my just chatting on this side, you guys might see my camera, right? So now you're getting to me. Whoa, spectacular. But this is just to show you guys what the move transition does, and I will give maybe more of a breakdown in a separate video again. I've got a few videos planned, but I'm going to do a lot of OBS tips first for all you new streamers and all you new content creators first. And then we'll get into more complex stuff like this. So, as you can see, it's probably not the best effect because I have my camera stuff sitting the wrong way around. And that is exactly why. So if I put this to what I've got it on, which is my widescreen, and then I jump over to, again, in-game, my camera will slide in and my banner will roll out. So that's basically what the move function does, and you can just mess about with that. Again, I will do a bit more in-depth on what each thing does, but I think that's everything I need to explain about scene transitions. I would suggest for now either cut, fade, swipe, slide, or stinger if you're very starting out. Like stinger is hitting that more advanced stage because you have, if you're making it yourself especially, which is extremely hard. Trust me, I'm in the middle of making my own stingers for streaming Saturdays and my normal YouTube content, which is going to be fun, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to look good in the end, but it's going to take me more than 3 weeks to maybe a couple of months to actually make these because I'm taking it slow and I'm making sure everything's right. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you guys leave it a like and stuff. Maybe you learned something new, maybe you didn't. Let me know. But I will be going more advanced next week, and then more advanced, and then more advanced until it hits a point where I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave it a like, leave it a comment any other OBS tips that you want me to go over, actually. I think that would be actually a good way to do it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, happy creating and happy streaming. Peace.